All right, the last part of Lana Linton's essay looks at a couple of contemporary research and opinion pieces that articulate some of the ideas in example contexts. The first one is Eric Kaufman's Racial Self-Interest is Not Racism. And in this work, Eric Kaufman does research with US 2016 and UK Brexit voters to gauge the extent to which choices were framed by issues of immigration and race. And out of that research, he makes the claims that accusations of racism leveled at anti-immigration parties and voters contribute to a mistrust of the elites. So once again, we see in example context this key dimension of not racism, of the mistrusting of elites, that talking about various things as examples of racism just makes people that are trying to be honest about the problems in the world just mistrust the kind of political elites that are trying to push their way of doing politics on them by calling their anti-immigration views and so on as racist. So this becomes a part of the idea of reasonable debate, and the idea that there's a reasonable debate about social impact of migration is hampered by people feeling self-censored because they don't want to talk about these real issues as they are, because they'll violate these kind of elitist social norms at being racist in their views. And this is a part of the idea too, the second key dimension, that there's this anti-racism moral hegemonic orthodoxy that strangles freedom of expression. So in Kaufman's research, he says that whites whose immigration stance is influenced by a desire to slow decline in their group's share of the population is not due to irrational fear or hate. So it's not racism, but they're accused of racism. And so that breeds the mistrust in the elites who are trying to force their politicalized morality onto ordinary people who are doing nothing wrong but trying to express their particular views. So Kaufman then says that he wants racism to be limited to the immoral or irrational fear, hatred of groups based on biological skin or race. So the xenophobia or cultural differences can't be racist. So we're once again even limiting sort of the idea of racism not just to kind of immoral behavior and more bad people or irrationality of hatred, but also that even if those fear and hatred are of others in a xenophobic sense or of cultures, that can't be racist, because racism is just about biological race or skin color. So xenophobia and all kinds of other things are not racism, even if they are, immoral or irrational fear or hatred. They're not racism because they're not about skin color, right? Another kind of limiting factor. Now, David Goodhart also has some conversation in this piece, and we can just leave it for now that he also produces an opinion piece similar to Kaufman. David Goodhart says racism talk makes it so in public debate a distinction can be drawn between group partiality and racism based in fear, hatred of outgroups. Right? So if it's a rational, group partiality and not something based in fear or hatred, then one is like rational group partiality versus irrational racism.